Hello, Rudy Salazar with CalBit.com, and welcome to the 5th video as we go through 8 steps of covering the basics of the California Bit Inspection Program. These 8 steps, including this 5th step video, can be found in this book that's available on our website at CalBit.com, and it's also available in our ebook that is available for download, where you get all the forms and really helps you put together your bit inspection program as we've been going through in these steps. Now, before we get started, as usual, our disclaimer. I go through the disclaimer on every one of our videos, and this video I'm just going to be real quick about it because we got a lot to cover. It's your job to know the the California Vehicle Code as it pertains to your fleet, and really in any state that you're in, you got to know your vehicle code. Also, it is your job to understand the law in the Department of Transportation as it pertains to your fleet and your fleet operation. That's just a quick disclaimer. I'm just a guy with a website that helps everybody understand the BIT program, what's required of you. And in this step, as we go through the DVIR, we are going over something that everybody across the United States has to comply with, because this is a federal law about drivers doing their daily vehicle inspection report. So, this is the daily vehicle inspection report that I designed. Now, on this report, I have a little map that covers all the basic issues that is written in the law, along with a lot of the steps that help assure that the drivers and the dispatch office and all your filing system and everything is going over the DVIR properly. So, in this, it's all written on every one of my reports. And one of the best things about this report is I have a thumbs up for no deficiencies found. In other words, the truck is safe, there's no problems, the driver has found nothing wrong with it. And then I also have a thumbs down that is deficiency were found, that there was a safety issue, and we'll be going over that in detail. Also on this form, I have 3 spots for signatures. The driver must sign the report every time, so every report has 1 signature. If there is a thumbs down, then the report's going to need 2 additional signatures. So, as you look at the law, the way that I read it, and once again, as my disclaimer says, it's your job to understand the law and to apply it to your fleet operation. But the way that this law is laid out is that as your driver leaves the yard or the place of dispatch, as they're going to go on their trip with that vehicle that they're operating, they either need 1 signature as they roll out. If the time before it was a thumbs up, no deficiencies found, everything was okay, he needs 1 signature with him as he leaves the yard. Or if there was a deficiency found, let's say a brake light was out and it needed to be repaired, before he leaves that yard, he needs 3 signatures with him. That'll be 1 signature from the previous report that the driver filled it out and he signs it, and it had a thumbs down. So then a mechanic or authorized person that made the repair or oversaw the repair needs to then sign it, or they need to check that the repairs were made and everything's okay, or that there was no corrective action needed because maybe the brake light was working but the driver thought it wasn't working, and so everything's okay. Maybe he shook the bulb or a loose ground or something, but now it's working. Who knows? But that everything's okay, so they sign it, and then the driver that's now being dispatched has to then sign that he reviewed it and that the brake light is working. So notice again, 1 signature if it's thumbs up, or 3 signature if it's thumbs down. Now that's just the beginning of this. Now this is the 5th video. In my 6th video, we're going to go over in a little bit more detail about this DVIR. So this DVIR video is kind of broken out in 2 steps. In my book, in my ebook, I break it out in 2 steps because one has to do with the driver, then the other one has to do with the shop and how they handle thumbs down deficiencies found. But as far as administrative standpoint, we're going to go into detail on that here, of the recommendations I have on how to administer your DVIR program so it doesn't get out of control. Now, Looks familiar, right? A lot of DVIRs coming in every day. Maybe your fleet's small, so you don't have that many, but still they pile up. Maybe your fleet's big, and so this is nothing. You might even get bigger stacks of DVIRs coming in every day. I know what it's like. I've been in operations where you got to get through these DVIRs every day, and it's like grabbing an alligator by the tail, and you got to make sure everything's taken care of right. So what I do is I do two things. First off, we've got thumbs up, thumbs down, DVIR defects, thumbs down, DVIR OK status, thumbs up. And what I do is I take your ordinary box, make it simple. That's what this whole program's about, just simplifying it so we don't overcomplicate it. But we take a box here, and these are our OK status, thumbs up. So again, like my book is designed, a driver's gonna as a driver, he or she is gonna check thumbs up or thumbs down. And so if you get the thumbs up ones, let's just say that all of these here, let's just say all of these here are thumbs up. Okay, what you do is just put them in the box right here. Every day you get thumbs up, just throw them in a box. Don't worry about organizing them, just throw them in a box, and those are your thumbs up, OK status. Now, by law, the way the law is written is that you're supposed to keep them for 90 days, 3 months. So as they get big, go to the ones that were put in there 90 days ago, just throw them away. All you have to do is keep 90 days worth of DVIR's OK status. So that's the easy part. Now the hard part. As I alluded to before, this little map shows what the workflow process is of these pieces of paper. Now, all the DVIRs that you buy in the industry, and you can buy mine's available online. They come in book form. Usually, when I sell these, you can buy them at whatever quantity you want. It's a good idea to take your DVIR book, write the month, the year, the truck number. There's enough in here to cover 1 month's worth of DVIR, of daily reports. And so you got a truck and month and year on here, and you have the driver fill it all out every day. And what they do is they take the original white copy after they fill it out and they sign it, and they're done with their trip for the day. They sign it, thumbs up, everything was okay. Let's just talk about that for starters. And then they turn it in. Okay, dispatch then says, oh, thumbs up, puts it in a box. Okay, great. And now there's a carbon copy waiting for the next dispatch. And then when the next driver comes in, the next driver looks and he says, okay, everything was okay status before. I have a driver signature here. Great, now I can leave. Also, they then, before they leave though, they start the next one. So they fold over the yellow copy. My book here has a little flap because these are carbonless. So these are good, nice DVIRs. So they fold over the flap and they start a new one. So they start a new one for the day. They fill it out. He doesn't have to sign it. He or she does not have to sign it yet because they're not done with the day, but they did their pre-trip inspection. So they checked all these things out that this report shows. And they go ahead and leave, and notice they're leaving with one signature with them from the previous day. So they're heading out the gate with one signature from the previous day. They started their pre-trip. They go. They take off. They do their en route inspection while they're driving the truck. The way that I teach it, and I have it spelled out here, that they're listening, they're looking for problems, they're smelling, they're feeling, and they're making mental notes, or if something is really going bad, they're going to write it down and get ready to report it. And then when they come back in, they say, let's say everything was okay. They check everything's okay, sign the bottom. They sign where they're supposed to sign, and they turn this in, and dispatch gets it, puts it in the box, and it's ready for the next dispatch. So that's the simplest part of this DVIR process when everything is thumbs up. So now let's say everything is, not everything, but let's say you have some thumbs down issues. Well, what happens is, let's say that the report from the previous time the truck was dispatched had a thumbs down check. and there's a driver signature. So before anything happens, let's just say that this white report had made it to dispatch. Okay, it had come to dispatch, thumbs down, and let's say the headlights out. Okay, so we have a headlight out. So this was turned in, but notice this report doesn't go to this box. Okay, this report gets treated a lot different. This is going to be a thumbs down, defects found. So since we have a thumbs down, defects found, what really helps on how to think about this is this in essence turns into a work order. Okay, when a driver writes thumbs down and signs it, it's now an official work order. And this has to be kept for 1 year, along with supporting documents. What are those supporting documents? Well, it could be a work order from your shop, a vendor, that mobile repair guy came out and repaired it, his work order. It could even just be this document. You could write everything on here. Pulled headlight out of, installed new headlight. You can make this a work order, but basically this becomes a work order. And so this now is here with defects found. Now we're going to talk about how to file this in a second, but let's just kind of work on what happens with the workflow. So it's got an issue, it's on the dispatch desk, so now dispatch needs to turn this into the shop or the vendor or dealership or whoever, and then the vendor, somebody puts on a headlight, and let's say a mobile repair guy came out, put on a headlight at 8 o'clock at night, and everybody's going home, and then the morning comes and the driver shows up, and the driver is about to leave, and they see on the report, before they start their new report, let's say they're going to flip over and start their new report here, and they're gonna get going. So they fill it all out, but before they do that, they look at yesterday's report. And so as he or she looks at yesterday's report, they say, oh, this had a thumbs down, headlight was out, okay, but because your operation is running really smooth and all, this was picked up by your mobile guy. He came in and saw this, or you assigned it to him, and they got it. He put on the headlight. So then he took the original and he brought it back to the truck. He put it on top of the carbon, and then he wrote on here, he or she, the mechanic, wrote on here, safety defects repaired. So he checked it, signed it, and then he turned the white copy back into dispatch. And then now there's two signatures on here. There's the reporting driver who wrote up the headlight. Now there's the vendor that did the repair. And then the driver, before they leave, they're to then sign it that they reviewed the last repair. So they go out and they check, yeah, the headlight's working, everything's fine. So then the driver reviewed it. So now as the driver leaves the yard, because it had a thumbs down, notice there's three signatures. The original reporting driver, the mechanic, vendor, or authorized personnel to sign off on this, and now the driver saying, I reviewed the last repair, everything's good, and he or she can then fold it over, and now here's their report that they're going to be turning in at the end of their trip, which then they'll sign, and the whole process will start over again. So I know this is complicated, and it gets really kind of confusing, but if you can kind of create policy that in your company that this is the way we're going to operate our system, it'll really start going smooth. So let's see here. We covered all the signatures and the thumbs up, thumbs down. And now what happens with this piece of paper? Okay, again, this never goes into the OK status. The OK status is only for OK statuses, and those you throw away after 90 days. This now you have to keep for 1 year. So what I suggest you do is you start a file system. Let me grab some file folders here. And let's just say these are files on actual trucks here. I got truck number 633, 631. Anyways, all these files, and in here, what we have are some invoices and some repair stuff, but they're not just your normal invoices and repair work orders on your trucks. What they are, they have nothing to do like with oil changes or preventive maintenance. This is strictly thumbs down, defects found, DVIR file folder system. So so you make file folders for your whole fleet of trucks, okay? And you put it, you got them here in your DVIR defects, and then you have a thumbs down one here, and let's say it had a headlight put on it, and let's say it was for this truck 633, and this is a work order for it. What you do is here's backup copy. Oh, see, this one's got some backup copy to it already. But you know, you staple it. This is the invoice or work order or whatever it may be that showed that the headlight was repaired. Again, might not be anything. You might have just had a headlight in your cabinet, and you came out and you unscrewed it and put it in, and maybe the dispatcher did it. Maybe just somebody in the office just took care of the burned out bulb. You just write repaired, done. Maybe make a little note. You know, this is it, or you have official documentation, whatever your workflow is. Whatever it is, you just make all your notes, staple it together, put it in its own folder, and you keep that together here. So, filing system strictly for defects found, DVIR's thumbs down. Again, and I talked about this in my other videos, about commingling. Do not commingle, because what happens is if you keep everything where it needs to be, it's just so much easier when the inspector comes in to inspect your fleet operation. So notice how all this is growing. So I got these books, they're in the truck. When they're all spent up, or when they're all done, you know, with carbons, and you issue new books in your truck, just take these and store these. You could even store them in each vehicle. That would be good. Keep everything for 1 year, or you know, these are kind of different. You can figure out how to store these, but you know, it's the originals and all the signatures and carbon copies you need to keep track of. So, you know, heck, throw them in there. I don't know, that actually works. And then after 1 year, you know, you could get rid of the entire book, because you don't need to keep anything past 1 year. You keep your OK status for 30 days. You keep these for 1 year, and this is our DVIR system. Now, another thing that we talked about is how you don't necessarily have to have a mechanic sign off on repairs, because sometimes, let's say you have a nail in the tire, it was reported, or the tire was flat. The vendor comes out, repairs a flat, paperwork goes all over the place, and the driver's trying to leave, but nobody signed the DVIR book. So let's say this book is inside the truck, and the driver's trying to leave, or nobody noted that the thumbs down was taken care of, but you know it was. You can go out and say, hey, I'm looking at the tire. I know that the vendor did it. We're going to get the original and the supporting document together when the bill comes through. So I'm going to go ahead and check it, and I'm going to sign it. It just has to be some authorized personnel. Doesn't have to be a mechanic. Could be a dispatcher or a manager. Just can't be the same driver or anything like that. So an authorized personnel signs it, and then the driver is cleared to sign and go, so long as everything gets taken care of. Well, it's a lot that we covered here, and we're going to go in our next step talk about the workflow a little bit more, because when there's a thumbs down, how the shop is going to handle, or how you should keep then your maintenance record. We kind of talked about it here a little bit, but we're going to kind of go over it again in step number 6. So that's step number 5, the basics of the DVIR program. Again, these are available on our website. These are specifically designed around the law, the D.O.T. law, and it's a really good design because you got a thumbs up and a thumbs down, and you can easily administer it with our high-tech box here. And again, after 30 days, you throw those away, and you keep a set of files strictly for thumbs down defects found. And that's the basics of operating your DVIR program. So now I'll see you over on step number 6 as we go into the maintenance a little bit more. Then we're going to cover the 90-day inspection and some other steps. And when we get all done, you're going to have a very impressive bit inspection program that you're administering, and you be ready to show it at a moment's notice, so we can keep it stress-free. So with that, thank you, and I'll see you at the next step.